Welcome to the deep dive. So we're jumping right in, picking up on Mark Carlson's essays on the Health Under Control Framework, or HEC.
Yeah, and the challenge really is how to distill this for everyone.
Yeah,
For the practitioners who feel a bit lost, and for anyone, just trying to make sense of all the noise.
absolutely. So our mission today is to do a deep dive into the first three principles. But before we even get to the principles themselves, I think we have to set the stage. We need to talk about why a framework like this is so necessary right now.
It's the only place to start because
Okay.
these principles, they're not just abstract ideas. They were born out of a need for a filter against, well, just the sheer volume of system noise.
And it's more than just conflicting advice, isn't it? The essays call it the health attention economy.
That's it, exactly.
And I think that term just nails it. It's this environment where, your trust isn't shaped by careful study. It's shaped by algorithms, by influencers, and just the speed of data.
Right. And you're making these huge health decisions not in a state of quiet reflection, but inside a media storm that's, frankly, built for panic and engagement, not for real understanding.
Which has completely corrupted the tools that were supposed to help us.
Yes. Think about CGMs, sleep trackers, all of it. They began as guides, objective data to help you reflect.
But now they've become referees.
Referees, that's the word. They're not guiding you, they're judging you.
I mean, it's such a visceral difference. I see it all the time. A client will literally scroll through their glucose graph to debate whether or not they're hungry.
Or check their sleep score before they decide if they're allowed to feel tired today.
Yeah, their body was screaming, "I'm tired," hours ago, but now they need approval from the dashboard.
And that's the real consequence. You lose what the essays called discernment. Your body stops being a place you live in, and it becomes just a data set you have to interpret.
And once you can't tell what real hunger or deep fatigue actually feels like in your own body.
Then every wellness trend just becomes an act of faith because you've outsourced the one thing that matters, knowing by feel if something is actually working for you.
So the antidote isn't to just, throw away all the technology.
No, of course not. That's not realistic. The antidote is to reestablish the criteria, the felt sense that exists underneath all the tools. We need these principles to act as filters.
Which brings us to the structure. I love how it's always a principle over an anti-principle.
Yes, it's a heuristic. It forces a question. Is this approach I'm taking prioritizing the goal, the principle? Or am I leaning on the anti-principle?
Which should only be used, sparingly, with a clear exit plan.
Exactly.
Okay, so for context, let's quickly list all seven. There's self-verifying tools, trusting body signals, removing hidden blocks, explainable mechanisms, direct experience, client-led agency, and presence.
That's the whole map. But for today, we're really focusing in on the first three, the ones that govern measurement and action.
Let's start with number one, self-verifying tools over expert-driven advice. The litmus test here is so simple and so brutal.
It is.
If you can't tell it's working without asking someone else, it doesn't belong in.
And that's the core of it. A self-verifying tool has to give you direct, experiential proof. You shouldn't need hope or belief or even a specialist to tell you it's working. Your body tells you first.
And the data just confirms it later.
The data corroborates. It doesn't lead.
The gut health example from the essay is perfect for this.
Yeah.
So a client gets a stool test. It shows some dysbiosis, maybe low Akkermansia or something.
A very common scenario.
They start a protocol.
Yeah.
The verification isn't waiting 3 months for another expensive test.
No. The verification is 2 or 3 weeks later when they just feel it. The bloating is gone. The urgency is gone. Their energy is back.
Their body has already confirmed it worked. The follow-up lab is just, I guess, the final receipt.
Exactly. Their experience is the primary data.
Okay, but let me push back a little. What about things that are slower? Like a thyroid issue or a deep nutritional deficiency. Don't you need an expert to guide you at the start? Because you won't feel that instantly.
That's a great question, and it's about nuance. The framework isn't anti-expert, it's anti-dependency.
Okay.
In those cases, the expert provides a working hypothesis, a temporary scaffold. The practitioner's role is to be a translator, but only until the client can read their own signals again.
So the goal is always literacy, not compliance.
Always. It has to be. The tools are just training wheels. A great example is breath work.
Right.
A coach can teach you slow nasal breathing. After 2 minutes, you don't need an HRV graph to know if it worked. You feel it. Your hands get warm. Your mind quiets down.
That's the verification.
Yeah.
Somatic shift.
Yes. If you don't feel that, then for you, in that moment, it wasn't a self-verifying tool, no matter what the graph says.
And that idea flows perfectly into principle 2, which is all about what to do with that data chaos.
It does. Principle 2. Trust in the body's signals over stacks, hacks, and tracking. And the message here is so direct.
That's that.
The goal isn't to get better at tracking. The goal is to not need to track at all.
Oof. That one hits hard in today's world. And this is where the CGM, the continuous glucose monitor, becomes such a double-edged sword.
It's the perfect example. When it works, it's a brilliant teacher.
How so?
The user eats oatmeal, sees the spike, and connects it to that feeling of brain fog an hour later. They learn the pattern in their own body, the fatigue, the mood dip.
You develop the literacy?
Exactly, and then the device comes off.
Yeah.
That's a success story.
But the failure mode is so much more common.
Oh, absolutely. The user never takes it off. They start to see normal, healthy glucose changes as a problem. Every meal feels like a risk.
And the device becomes the authority. The body's actual signals just become background noise.
You see it with everything. Cortisol tracking. Sleep data. You can get the numbers perfect on paper, but the person still feels tense and wired. The feedback has turned into a performance.
And they lose their own innate sense of what balance even feels like without that external number.
Right. And then you get into the trap of supplement stacking.
Ugh, yes. What am I taking? Becomes the only question.
Instead of the real question, how do I actually feel right now?
It's a total replacement of internal awareness with external dependence.
Which brings us to principle 3, which is about action. Remove hidden blocks over managed dysfunction.
I think this one might be the most important. The core idea is that most chronic problems have two parts. There's the symptom you can see,
And then there's the hidden constraint, the thing that's preventing your body from fixing itself.
and most systems just address the visible part. They manage the symptom forever.
The fatigue case study in the essays really clarifies this. Client is exhausted, labs show high cortisol.
So the standard playbook is treat the number, give them adaptogens, maybe meds, manage the dysfunction.
But the HUC approach says to look for the hidden block.
Right. And so often with fatigue, the high cortisol isn't the problem. It's a necessary response to a problem.
Like a massive ongoing immune strain from a microbial imbalance in the gut. The stress signal is the body's attempt to contain inflammation.
So the cortisol is actually doing its job.
It's doing its job, and the moment you clear that block, the gut issue, the immune system calms down, cortisol normalizes on its own, and the energy comes back. You removed the obstruction instead of managing the symptom.
And this applies psychologically too, right? With
Yeah.
anxiety or insomnia.
100%. With anxiety, the hidden block is often behavioral. It's a nervous system stuck in sympathetic drive because the person has a habit of automatic agreement. They just say yes to everything.
So their system is always on red alert.
Constantly. So you don't just medicate the symptom. You teach them how to regulate their nervous system, how to create a pause. You clear the block, and the chemistry follows the behavior.
And for insomnia.
Often the hidden block there is a belief, the belief that rest is unsafe. If I stop, they'll see I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
And when you do the work to soften that belief, the body no longer has to guard against rest. Sleep just returns.
So across the board, the assumption is the body isn't broken, it's just obstructed.
Intelligent but obstructed. That's the entire foundation. When you find and clear what's in the way, health just resumes. That's what health under control actually means.
Okay, so just to recap, we've gone through the first three principles. Self-verifying tools, trusting your body's signals, and removing hidden blocks. They all really rewire how we approach measurement and action.
Yeah, they build on each other. If you can verify it yourself, you can learn to trust it. If you can trust your body, you can stop needing to track everything. And if you remove the block, the body just does its thing. It's a path back to yourself.
And for everyone listening who wants to see the rest of this structure, we're going to be tackling principles 4 and 5 in our next deep dive.
Yes, and that's all about clarity of function and the importance of explainable mechanisms.
But basically how we can verify claims and stop ourselves from just adopting these strange health ideologies without any proof.
Exactly. But if there's one thought to leave you with from today, maybe it's this.
Go for it.
The body hasn't forgotten how to heal. The client hasn't failed their protocol. The system just got too noisy to hear what the client already knows.
That is the perfect place to pause and reflect. If you're ready to start using these filters, you can find all of Mark Carlson's HUC essays at healthundercontrol.com.
And for services that actually put these principles into practice, you can go to unblock.health.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. We will talk to you next time.